Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Power Block, episode 166. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrick, and alongside me, as always, is that retro code, Eddie V.
I just rewatched the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer today, and more theories.
Oh boy, yeah, that's a game that's coming soon. Maybe not. Who knows? If you're joining us live, it is Tuesday. You're not crazy. We're really trying to adjust scheduling and stuff because Ed got promoted at work, and our schedules have changed a little bit. So recording during the week may change throughout the week, but you will still get the show on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. So if we miss anything between the time we record and Saturday morning, sorry, but we're trying to adjust with the schedules, but we still want the podcast and the video to go up simultaneously. And when we record live, you can, if you want to be caught up, you can just join us live on Mixer on whatever night. Just follow us on Twitter to figure out when recording times are. So, but Ed, how was your? I came into this week thinking, like, because we kind of talked about it this weekend that we were going to record on Tuesday instead of Thursday, and I was like, not really much is happening until today. And today there's a lot that's happening, and we were just like, oh, okay, that's cool, I guess.
It's a wild ride today. Like, just so many things going on. And everybody probably pretty much read the news, but I woke up to this craziness, and I literally message Corey, just be like, this happened.
Yeah, you messaged me, and you're like, did you hear about Blizzard? I'm like, no. And you're like, and you told me about the kid who got banned because of to make a long story short, it's a very prominent esports player from China who was banned from Hearthstone because he gave a speech to say liberate China or liberate Hong Kong or something.
Yeah, China
during his victory speech or something, and then they banned him because of his actions. But I think that has more to do with the Chinese government than Blizzard directly. Even though like Overwatch and Hearthstone and free to play games over there are super big, and Blizzard has a huge hand in that. Clearly,
because Tencent is partnered with or almost part of Blizzard, I think.
They have a small investment in Activision Blizzard, which is the parent company of Blizzard.
Yeah, and then like the announcers, and we're gonna speak about this on the next show Saturday. Even the announcers got fired, and they didn't even do nothing. They were just like, "What?"
Yeah,
like,
they were interviewing him, I think, for the most part, and then they just kind of, got roped into it, and then what you said, they are no longer working for the company. So interesting things happening on that side, but we'll talk about that more on the NX show, obviously, because that's not Hearthstone doesn't really have an audience on Nintendo, but
yes.
And we did have a tiny discussion if that would affect Overwatch on the Nintendo Switch, and I don't think it will at all, because I think 99% of the public has no idea that this is even going on. But the only thing is like Nintendo's really the first console to crack the Chinese market. And I know other consoles and stuff and Nvidia's Shield tablets and stuff are all over China now with Nintendo games on it. But like that might be the only place where that might affect them. But I don't think this really affects Blizzard in a major way. So
it's going to be surprising because it's literally been trending all day on Twitter, and just the responses for Americans. They were just like, they're boycotting, like they're getting rid of the stuff. So that's why I asked, is this going to affect Overwatch on Switch?
No, I don't think so. I think the esports community will obviously probably try to rally behind this guy, because it's a tight knit community in most games. But like I said, the general public and people, first of all, the people who want to play Overwatch this seriously to be invested in esports and everything, probably already have it on PC or one of the consoles, right? Especially, and you know, I think the Switch version is a nice package to have on the Switch, but it's not like for the serious players. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But anyways, I'm gonna start this housekeeping real quick. Ed,
Yes.
welcome to Nintendo Power Black Live. You can catch us live every week on Mixer for about 90 minutes or so to talk about the happenings in the world of Nintendo. If you can't join us live, that's no big deal. You can find Nintendo Power Black on YouTube, Spotify, and your favorite podcast apps every Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern in an edited form. Make sure you stay tuned for the after show where Ed and I will play some classic Nintendo games. Currently, we are making our way through A Link to the Past, so if you're watching live, you can watch us play that after the show. If you can't catch that, you can actually catch it the following Thursday on YouTube as well. You can follow me on Twitter at CoreyNHG713 and Ed at that retro code, and check out our network of content. So that's all we got for housekeeping. There's something I've been toying around with, Ed, but it's kind of like a long distance goal for us as a team. You know, I want to talk to you about this after the show, but I've been thinking about a big giveaway for our Mixer audience specifically. But it's like a really big long-term goal, and it would definitely be like, you know, something that's really far out unless a big flood of people come and follow us on Mixer, you know. So
Yes.
But I do want to talk to you about that after the show, because I think it might be an interesting way to help people not only find the show and find us live, but get some community engagement and have some fun with some people. So we'll talk about that and maybe have something to announce on that next week.
Yes.
So, but Ed, I want to get into the cartridge slot. The cartridge slot is where we talk about what we've been playing on our Switches this week. I'm going to start just because it hasn't really been much. It's been a lot of Fire Emblem for me. I am determined to beat that game before Luigi's Mansion comes out. I want to beat Fire Emblem and I want to beat Link's Awakening, and I know if I just buckle down and beat Link's Awakening, that I could finish it this week if I really tried hard enough. So that's probably what I'll be streaming this week, to be 100% honest with everybody. But Fire Emblem, I am almost 70 hours in at this point now. And dude, it's getting really hard. So I must be really close to the end, because it's getting really hard, like super challenging. So and I'm also playing on really the second to hardest difficulty, and I'm also playing with permadeath on. So
Yikes.
That's what's making it a lot harder. My end game clock is only at 50 hours, but my Switch time clock is at like 65 or more. So yeah, that's it's going well, but it's getting really difficult, and yeah, this is it's getting really difficult. So but nothing really new. I'm prepping myself for Luigi's Mansion and a couple things on the other consoles. We talked about the NX challenge before the show started, which was our the NX show's kind of backlog challenge games that we kind of made, and then we kind of incorporated our community into it. We haven't really promoted it much on this show, or at all, I should say. But
yes,
I am prepping a backlog list, because I'm going to have a backlog day on stream where I play backlog games. So that should be really, really interesting. And not just Nintendo games either. It's indie games and PlayStation and Xbox games. And
yes,
maybe Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Adventure Mode. But yeah, I'm making my way through Fire Emblem. I have 2 really large RPGs and maybe a third on the way downloaded on my Switch now in Final Fantasy 12 and Dragon Quest 11. So
yes,
Yeah, those are downloaded on my Switch and ready to go. But I want to finish Luigi's Mansion first before I start any big RPG. I think those RPGs are going to be more for like, the holidays and everything. So that's where I'm at. What are you playing, Ed? What are you playing on your Switcheroo?
So Final Fantasy 9, I think I'm still on the second disc, and I think once I play a little bit more, I'll be on the third disc. I am playing it on Switch, and only reason why I'm saying the disc is because Final Fantasy 9 was broken into 4 discs when it originally came out.
Did they switch it? Do they have like quote unquote discs for the Switch version?
No, everything is literally connected.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
You don't see where it says end of disc 1. Like everything pretty much is connected. So they somehow was able to streamline everything. I mean, it's still saying like now loading at some parts, but everything is streamlined for
nice.
it. So I played a little bit more Contra Anthology.
That's the other game I downloaded too, was Final Fantasy 8. So I have 8, 9, 10, 10 to 12, and Dragon Quest 11 all downloaded recently. And I'm just like, oh man, that's a lot of RPG.
Yeah, that's one that I need to get back to. Forgot that I got Guacamelee too, and I was playing it on Switch.
Look, I have enough games on my Switch now to last me the next like 2 years.
Shoot. Same thing here for digital and physical. Like it's my stuff is insane, and I still got stuff wrapped up in the case still.
Yeah.
Like the Sky of 5 that I need to get to. Like I inserted it but haven't started. I got Bomberman still wrapped up. And just like a whole bunch of other games that was just like, yes, I'm so excited to play it, but I gotta finish this game. Oh, this eShop sale now is coming on, and now I gotta put 5 cents toward this game and buy it. Yeah,
it's insane, man. There's too much, man. There's just too much. And I was looking at my list for Game of the Year discussion because that's coming up, and like we on Nerds Gone Rogue last night's recording. Matt and I were having some fun with your comment that said in like a Facebook message, whatever, or a Facebook comment, and it was you told Matt that he had till the second week of December, and we were like, well, we got to start prepping now. There's so many games. So we were poking fun at your comment for a little bit, but I mean it was out of love. But it's like I was looking at that list and I'm like, there's literally games coming out all the way up until then. And it's like, how do we what are we doing?
Right, and like to have that conversation, you can't have it because I'm like, if you do it now, you're missing Call of Duty, you're missing Luigi's Mansion, you're missing Pokemon, you're missing some indie games like Valkyries. Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove, like that whole collection, that still could win Game of the Year because probably people waited for that whole collection to come out and they're going to get it. And that might be their Game of the Year. Like, how do you have a conversation like that when there's so much stuff being announced and so much stuff coming out? Like, just even indie games and stuff. If you look at Nintendo Life, a lot of stuff is just out the blue getting announced and coming next week. And it's just like, is this going to be that way all the way up to December? So I'm like, December will be like the cutoff time unless like some big unknown crazy game gets announced and be like, what, is it in this platform?
Right. Oh, man. And then like, it's almost a good thing. Like one of our news stories is like Doom got delayed, right? And the Switch version, they don't know how long that's going to be delayed, but it's like, look, the rest of the year, right? On top of now that September's over, but we still have like, Overwatch. I want to check out. The Witcher's coming. The Outer Worlds is coming. Luigi's Mansion is coming. Pokemon is coming. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is coming. Like, and that's just like Switch stuff, Like, there's other games that are coming out that I really want to check out too, and it's crazy, man. It's rough being a podcaster because you got to talk because you always feel like you have to keep up with everything, and then when you find something you really like Fire Emblem I've been playing since July and it's October, you know, and it's like I want to keep playing that, but I feel like I need to play something else to talk about on the show. And you know, I've tried to not worry about that for a little bit, but like, man, there's just too much. But
right, it like a shoot. I'm just looking at the eShop for a little bit, and like The Witcher 3, like coming to Switch, like could that get Game of the Year nomination? Even though people are just like, oh, I'll get it because it's this and it's that. I'm like, it may surprise people, and it may be like, oh.
I mean, I've heard the Switch version actually is like one of the best ports of a third party game, you know, that we've seen. Just based on I forget who did. I know Nintendo Life has a video on it where they actually got to go play The Witcher on Switch, and it's like, you know, I know the handheld version only runs at 540p, and when it's on screen it's 720p, but like if you don't own The Witcher on another platform, it's actually like a super serviceable version of the game, and I would love to take The Witcher on the go with me. You know, I think that series is super interesting. I don't think it has the best combat. I don't think, you know, moving around in that game feels great, but I think what that game does in terms of world building and storytelling is really interesting. And to have something as robust and as powerful as The Witcher on the Switch, you know, we've talked about it a million times where like we have these big games on Switch and it's like there's no excuse really anymore about other games, right? And like The Witcher is going to be the first real true giant test of a game, you know, like I mean Doom and Wolfenstein are accomplishments in their own right?
Yes.
But like those are pretty linear first person shooters. And Panic Button did a fantastic job with those games. I don't want to take anything away from them. You know, and then Warframe was another kind of accomplishment in terms of the multiplayer space. And now with The Witcher and the Outer Worlds coming to Switch, like those are big open world games that are on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. They are games that will push the Switch to its limits, and I think this is going to be really the first big test to see if everything should come to Switch or not. So,
well, it seems that even if it's a downgraded version, the everything come to Switch discussion, it's still always gonna happen. And I think companies have been seeing the rewards and the benefits. It might not sell big as the PlayStation, the Xbox, or the PC version, or like the definitive or bigger versions. They see that sales are happening on this console, and as much as the sale, like I said, you always want sales to continue to happen for your game. You don't want to push out 5 million and then stop in a month. You want something to just continue to grow and grow. It happens with Breath of the Wild. It happens with Grand Theft Auto 5. It happens with Mario Kart 8. Like those three big games, they're continuing to sell every time someone gets a new system or they want to like they kind of may see a sale or something and they snatch it up. That's good for those publishers because that's more sales and more profits for them. So you want to, as a developer and publisher, have that. And definitely as fans of a series or fans of that console, you want to see that one of your favorite games continue to sell throughout. You just don't want it to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, last but not least, hop back to Breath of the Wild for Zelda. And once again, I got lost in this game. Like literally just I'm playing it, you know, it's been on my backlog for a long time. I haven't beat it. I got as far as I could on Wii U. But now that I brought it for Switch, I kind of had to start over. And I got to get back into it. And it's just like, man, just playing this game, it's just like, it's still breathtaking. You still could get lost and find things that you never knew in this game. Yeah. And I feel like even if they do the same thing for Breath of the Wild 2 and go even bigger and stuff, I feel like I'm going to get lost into this game, and it's going to be hard not to talk about it. Could another Perfect 10 be on it? I was literally thinking of that in my head, but just like, I think Breath of the Wild 2, even if it got an 8.5 or a 9.5, I think they're still thinking of what ideas that we couldn't incorporate in this first version, incorporated in this new game, and what new breath can we breathe into this game. And I think Nintendo, I think Anuma and the team, I think they got a lot of stuff planned. Like, I hope. It's sad for me to say this. I hope I don't see another trailer of Breath of the Wild until next September. Like, say that for a direct for next September.
I mean, I feel like we're going to see it at E3 next year.
We probably will, but I'm just like, I want them to, like I said, even with like Pokemon, like I'm blacking out on Pokemon. I see everybody posting and people giving their opinions. I want people to continue to do.
Speaking of Pokemon, I heard a really good thing on the internet today, and it was if the evolution for Score Bunny isn't Hopscorch, I'm quitting. I'm quitting video games. I'm like, that's really good. That's really good.
Knowing the Pokemon company, yeah.
Dude, that's really good.
But I'm still doing my Grookey. So. Grass type. Grass for life.
Not that grass, kids.
Yeah, not that. No,
Stay in
not
school.
That. No, not that. No, but Breath of the Wild is just like, I feel like when part 2 comes, like, I just don't want to know anything till this time until it's ready. Give me the news by Bayonetta 3. Give me the news by Metroid Prime 4. I'm ready for that news and whatever else they want to bring out. But just like, man, and I was going to even ask you this, Corey. Have you ever had a game where you just got lost in?
I mean, Zelda. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I was totally lost in. How long did I play that game? And how did I found all the Korok seeds. I did all the shrines. I upgraded most of the armor. I was lost in that game for a long time.
I thought, like, I was thinking to myself, I was just like, Destiny also you got lost in because you were just playing it so much.
Yeah, but that's different though, because like I wasn't like exploring the world. I was chasing weapons, and it wasn't like I wasn't like getting lost in the worlds of Destiny. I mean, to be fair, there's only a few worlds that I find super interesting. Like I think the Cosmodrome from the first Destiny is interesting. I have installed Shadowkeep. I know some people are like wanting to hear my opinions on Shadowkeep, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I haven't had time to even start it up. It's installed. I just have to play it. But like, I think the moon is, from what I'm hearing and what people are saying, like the moon, going back to the moon is super nostalgic, but they added so much to it that it's like, man, there's new areas of the moon that we can go explore and kind of, relive some of that stuff. And I'm really interested in doing that. But Zelda is really the game that, it's weird because like linear games, you don't really get lost in, right? Because they're trying to lead you down a specific path. And, Jesse and I are playing Gears 5 right now. And it's like, I am loving Gears 5, dude. Like, that story, like to be like 100% honest, as much as I love Xbox and I will pull for Xbox as much as I can, like Gears 5 is probably the game that Xbox needed like 3 or 4 years ago to try to catch up, right, in terms of sales. Like I really believe that. I think the story is amazing. I think Kate is a super dynamic character, and hey Jesse. Jesse's in the chat.
Hey Jesse.
I'm loving Gears, and I promised Jesse I wouldn't play until we could play together, and it's really hard, dude. It's really hard. And
the struggle is real.
We also made the decision to play on quote unquote experienced Gears which is the second highest difficulty. And we were stuck on a boss fight the other night for probably 30 or 40 minutes, and it was fun. It was good, but it was, oh boy.
I would just say this. Hopefully a particular Saturday in October will happen for me. And I will play as Jack.
Nice.
Yeah, wow.
Oh man, it's Gears is good, but I think really kind of the last game I really got lost in was Horizon, I guess you would say. Like I think Horizon was a good game to get lost in because that world is really interesting, and I think the premise of hunting robot dinosaurs is like it's unique for the video game space, right? Like there wasn't anything really like it, and you know I'm really excited for a Horizon sequel, but you know that's kind of the last game I kind of got lost in. But
a certain Papa wants me to hurry up and platinum that game, and I'm just like, I know I need to do this because of the Doom delay.
Yeah.
So
well,
a certain Papa wants me to beat it. And I'm just like, okay.
It's an easy platinum. I mean, you just have to do everything in the game.
Well, yes, but it's the trial stuff. I'm like, oh,
the trial stuff's really easy though. Once you like get to it, there's one that I had trouble with, but it wasn't that big of a deal. So,
okay.
But anyways, are you playing anything else, Ed?
At this time, no. Besides Xbox and PlayStation, that's pretty much. Well, PlayStation, I'm gonna start next week. And Xbox, people could check my Mixer page on what I'm playing with that. But pretty much that's it.
What's that Mixer, Ed?
The Lyrical one. You guys find me there on Mixer and on Twitch at the Lyrical one also. Yeah, so that's one that I'm doing right now. I have to jump into Wargroove because I think the DLC is out. And I need to get it, and that's another game I need to work on. So,
yeah, Wargroove is good, by the way, if you guys are strategy fans. But, anyways, let's get into the news bits here. Not a lot to cover, but some interesting stories nonetheless. Kind of a weird story, and I can't say I'm surprised by this. This comes from IGN. Atari's lead console engineer quits after dispute. The Atari VCS system architect has quit the project over missed payments. So just to lead the story off, for those who don't know, the company that owns the rights to the Atari system, it's a really weird rights thing, and I don't really know how it splits 100%, but one company owns the name Atari, and there's like another company that owns the rights to the system Atari. Mm-hmm. It's like this really weird split. I don't really know for sure. You can look it up, but I just know it's split in some weird way. But this comes from IGN. A new report has revealed that the system architect for Atari's retro console, the Atari VCS, has left the project after he claims the company hasn't paid him in 6 months. Atari architect Rob Wyatt, who was previously a founding member of the Xbox team, told the Register that he left the Atari project last week. As of Friday, October 4th, I have officially resigned as the architect of the Atari VCS, Wyatt told the publication. According to Wyatt, his design consultancy 10 Giant has not been paid for invoices dating back over 6 months. As a small company, we have been lucky to survive this long. The status of the Atari VCS is also murky. Wyatt says his team only received a prototype motherboard last month, and that his team was in the progress of debugging it before parting ways with Atari. Service Link, another contracted company with Atari, has reportedly taken over the project from 10 Giant. So there's some really interesting developments going on here. I think a lot of people thought this project was shady from the beginning.
Yeah,
to say the least.
I was just like, wait, oh, what? And so I had to read the story, and it's just like, first of all, what company would still be working for another company that's not paying you for 6 months? And now you just decided to leave? I would have been gone the first time I didn't get paid. The first month? Nah.
Yeah,
We
I would have been looking into this way earlier than 6 months, right? Like,
right.
I mean, not to like say this was wrong, and I'm sure like there's some things going on like behind the scenes that we don't know about, but like I would have really been checking into this after like
Hmm.
at the longest a month, right? Because I mean, most people get paid, every 2 weeks or twice a month, right? And so like I would have been checking into this after the second or third time I didn't get paid, right? So at the latest. So really interesting. I think that this system is dead in the water. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think anybody really cares about this system. And like,
Yeah.
it's weird because they're like promoting it as one of these retro consoles, right? But they're also aiming to get like newer games on the system, and it's going to with both controllers, like the standard classic joystick controller and a what are they calling this controller? The like a modern controller. They're calling it something really stupid though. I want to find the name of it. It's there. It's weird. It's like it's gonna be like $300. It comes preloaded with 100 classic Atari games, but it's also made to run modern games. So it's a really weird project. I feel like they don't know really what it wants to be, and that's really hurting it.
And the bad thing about it is that there's a Atari collection that has two volumes that came out.
I know, and they're
Right,
both
but
on Switch, and they're what, like $30 a piece, I think.
right, and shoot, and plus most of the systems got the arcade archive that got these Atari games on it. So why even bother? But if people want to invest in it, if Atari believes in it, and I think they're getting the Earthworm Jim game, I believe.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like Earthworm Jim's not going to sell a console to it's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim is not cool enough to sell a console. So, I mean, I know people have affection for Earthworm Jim, but are you going to buy a $300 console to play a new Earthworm Jim game? I'm not. So, and then if the Atari fails, it's going to come to other systems anyway. So,
Pretty much. So
so,
I,
but
I
I hope everybody working on the project gets paid. Like, I hope jobs aren't lost because of this, but like,
yeah,
it just smells like it's dead in the water. So,
and that's a lot of money that went down the drain.
yeah. All right, our next story, more sad news. Doom Eternal has been delayed, and the Switch version is the most heavily affected. id Software explains all. This comes from Nintendo Life. Doom Eternal's developer id Software has announced the game has been delayed. Sadly for Nintendo fans, the Switch version has been hit the hardest. The developer has shared the following statement with fans, revealing that the game has been pushed back to the 20th of March of 2020 on the other platforms and after that date on Switch. The delay comes as part of an effort to deliver, quote, the best experience to players. The game was originally supposed to launch on November 22nd. This is the statement from id Software. Throughout the development of Doom Eternal, our goal has been to deliver a game that exceeds your greatest expectations across the board. To make sure we're delivering the best experience for Doom Eternal to live up to our standards of speed and polish, we've made the decision to extend our launch date by a few months to March 20th, 2020. We know many fans will be disappointed by this delay, but we are confident that Doom Eternal will deliver a gaming experience that is worth the wait. In addition to shifting Doom Eternal launch date, we've made a couple other changes we want you to know about. Invasion mode, which will allow you to enter other players' games as a playable demon, will release as a free update shortly after launch. Doom Eternal for Nintendo Switch will release after the other platforms. We will announce that date in the future. And Doom 64 will be available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC in addition to Nintendo Switch. We are adding Doom 64 as a pre-order bonus for Doom Eternal on all platforms, so you'll be able to download and play this classic game for free just by pre-ordering Doom Eternal. Doom 64 will be released on March 20th, 2020 on all platforms as well. We are grateful to every Doom fan for your dedication and support. We can't wait to rip and tear right alongside you. So that's the statement from id Software.
Okay, so this is the problem that I have with all of this. We was thinking that Doom 64 was coming out for Switch, and we knew that it was going to be coming out other platforms. But that's just not that stupid for them not to do that. But we just thought that it would be something that you buy on the eShop, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Now it feels like, because some people think this is really shady, that they connected as a pre-order to a game that's not coming out next year. And Doom 64 for Switch owners, yeah, you'll get it, but you won't get that version of the game of Doom Eternal to whenever they feel like doing it. And it's just like, why would you push the Switch version back when you guys are not even doing it? You're having I
feel like, I feel like this, and this is, I'm actually surprised Wolfenstein Youngblood came out alongside the other versions of that game on Switch, but I feel like Panic Button does their best work when they have all the work in front of them, right? And,
yes.
And that's how, Hob came to Switch, and that's how Warframe came to Switch. Like, all that work was already done. They weren't waiting or building the game on the fly alongside the other studios, right? Because Panic Button has the extra work to do on top of the other studios are building the game, but Panic Button has the extra work to do, like taking the code and making sure it runs on Switch. And like if they change the code, they have to kind of redo all that work, right? I mean, I'm not really sure how programming works. I'm not a programmer, but like that's like the bread, like the easy way to explain it, right, is like I feel like once Panic Button gets all the code in front of them and making sure the whole game is ready, but alongside the way that Nintendo wants to, maybe this delay after them might also fall on a Nintendo type thing, because maybe Nintendo has a lot coming out in the spring and they want to make sure Doom has room to grow on the Switch as a third-party game.
Well, the thing about it is that the idea was that Doom Eternal was coming on all platforms, and that Panic Button probably was working with Bethesda and id Software during the development, so for the Switch version. So now I can see where you're coming from with that answer, but now it just feels like all the production for the Switch version now is on halt, so that Bethesda and id Software could get the main game ready for PS4 and Xbox and PC. Where then we'll now just go ahead and do the Switch version for later. And it's just like, why would you do that? My thing would have been like, just announce the game for those systems, and then later on announce it in the Nintendo Direct that it's also coming to Switch at a later date. I can understand that you want to put tender love and care into your product, but the thing about it is that you pushed those other two systems to March 20th on the day that Animal Crossing is coming out. And now you're going to struggle because you're not going to have a 3-way sale, or a 4-way sale, I should say. You're not going to have a 4-way sale with Animal Crossing, in a sense. Like, people could get Doom for Switch and Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing on Switch.
Yeah, but see, I think that's why they're pushing it on Switch, is because Nintendo has major first-party games coming out around that time. And, like, to be 100% honest with you, people who are buying a Switch are going to buy Nintendo first-party games over third-party games, right? Like, I think id knows that, and I think they've had discussions with Nintendo and say, hey, we don't really want Animal Crossing, even though it's not the same audience, right? Like,
right.
People who own a Switch are going to buy Nintendo's first-party games. That's why they own the system. So, like, I don't think they want to cannibalize Doom's success by, Animal Crossing and whatever else Nintendo has planned to come out next year.
I don't think they would cannibalize
Xenoblade,
Right.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Like Nintendo has a lot coming out next year.
Yeah.
Also,
But
Ubisoft is positioning Gods and Monsters as a Switch game, even though it's coming to everything. So like I think Nintendo's plate is full, and I honestly, like, now that we're talking about it, I think this is more a Nintendo decision than it is an id decision.
I wouldn't say it's a Nintendo decision, because the thing
it's like a joint decision, like a
joint decision. The thing about it is that on March 20th, there probably, just on my time alone, would have been people posting pictures that they got a new Switch, they got a Switch Lite, they got Animal Crossing, and they got Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal, and all the pictures that they show of Doom Eternal probably would have just been on Switch alone. I probably would not see people putting it on PS4 or Xbox One. Just the physical copy of the game. Bethesda would have seen how many copies they would have did on Switch. But if they feel like this was the best decision to push it, that's going to be fine. Hopefully, Doom Eternal, when it comes out on the 20th, it better be an amazing game. I
don't think it's not going to be a great game. You know, I want Doom Eternal to be as great on Switch as Doom was when it came out on Switch, right? And I want it to be as great as the other console versions for the technical limitations of the Switch, right? I just want it to be a great game on the Switch as well as the other platforms.
And see, I do want that too, but I hope Bethesda makes it great, because I don't want it to be like it comes out and it suffers, like it's average or mediocre, and then they end up canceling the game because they feel like no one brought it.
See, I don't think they're going to cancel it. I think they're already committed. I think they've already dumped too much money into, like, because Panic Button's done great work. Yes. Wolfenstein 2 sold well on Switch. Doom sold over 2 million copies on Switch. Like, I don't think they're panicking. You know, I think Bethesda's games do well enough on Switch that they're willing to put the investment and time in. I'm just talking about for the bigger systems. Like, this delay really has to, really go to this game, and so that when it does bring out, if people are still hyped for this game after it's released and it comes to Switch, and they see the reviews and stuff, and it's still good as the other 2 months, people will be like, okay, now it's out on Switch, I'm gonna pick it up. Because Doom, the regular Doom, the remake one, proved itself on how good it was, and then to have that game come to Switch really showcased that people were just like, we heard great things on it, and so yeah, I'm going to pick this copy up. Doom Eternal now cannot be a 5.5, 6.5. It cannot be no buggy, janky mess. It can't be Wolfenstein Youngblood on Switch, right? Because no offense to Panic Button, but I mean, to be fair, Wolfenstein Youngblood on the other consoles wasn't. I didn't finish it, but the things I heard about it wasn't great on the other consoles, and I feel like it didn't get a lot of love on Switch either. So I own it. I want to finish these games, right? Like I want to finish the Wolfenstein games. But I think Doom is a different animal, and I think Doom will be fine on Switch as long as they don't pussyfoot around and let us know when it's coming out, and I think Nintendo's going to own that marketing message, because they're going to put it in a direct and people are going to get hyped and you know what I mean? Like the way that Wolfenstein and Doom were announced, right? Like they were announced in a Nintendo Direct and everybody got really excited. I think they want to rekindle that and be like, hey, look, it's coming. Nintendo does a cool Direct. We're just going to throw it in there, right?
And not just Bethesda. I know Bethesda's not watching, but Bethesda, hopefully they not do the.
You don't know. Pete Hines could be sitting at his desk right now watching us on Mixer.
Bethesda, look at what Ubisoft did with Watch Dogs, the first one, and how that game got treated, and how Mario Kart 8 not only destroyed that game, but them pushing it out the way for the Wii U to people didn't even realize that the Wii U version came out. Mario Kart 8 for Wii U continued to sell after it came out. Like Watch Dogs got destroyed back and forth.
Well, that's because that's a conversation for a different day. But like, I think Watch Dogs on Switch got delayed because the Wii U was incredibly difficult to develop for, and I'm surprised that game ran on Wii U ran at all. Like I played Black Flag on Switch and it ran fine, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think people were over it at that point, and people were playing Nintendo games on Wii U, and they were just passing everything else up. So,
yeah, it's just that I feel like Watch Dogs didn't get the love. They made a decision to delay the Nintendo version, but continue to work on Sony's version, and it's just like.
Well, that's because the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were incredibly easy to develop for because they mimic PCs.
Right, but you also had PS3 and 360, and all four of those versions came out the same day. Yeah. And so why would if Wii U is kind of on the same level of PS3 and 360, why would they delay that? But Ubisoft made that decision, and they have to live with that decision that they made. And that's why I feel like Bethesda really has to prove it, because don't forget, Animal Crossing is big.
I feel like Bethesda is in a different place than Ubisoft was when Watch Dogs came out, right?
Yes,
like I feel like Bethesda has shown a ton of support for Switch, like more support than there's Skyrim, there's Fallout Shelter, there's 2 Wolfenstein games, there's Doom. Like that's a lot of game for one platform.
And they put their trust in Panic Button, and I think they work also with Panic Button to deliver some great games. And
that's why I think Doom Eternal for Switch is going to be just fine. Like I just hope they like get the messaging across to say, hey, Nintendo's going to handle the marketing from here on out for Doom Eternal on Switch. We're going to see it in a direct. It'll be out in the summer. I bet it's going to come out in that May spot where, like, what I mean?
I think it probably won't come out 6 months after. I'm feeling another October.
I don't think they're going to be that delay, because Nintendo is going to want to own the holiday, because they're going to want to push. Nintendo's going to want to have heavy hitters coming out next holiday, because Xbox Scarlet and PlayStation 5 are coming out. And they want to go guns blazing. I bet,
and that's why I feel like after it comes out on March, it's going to be a 6 months delay. We'll get it out. We'll see it in a direct, maybe April or for E3. But that game is not going to be out until I feel like September. Like there's some Panic Button going to give that game 6 months for extra development or some development. Because that's why I said I feel like they're holding off on the Switch version, and they're working on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox and PC version. And then when that game come out, then all the tools and all the coding and stuff, Panic Button will pick up, and then they'll go black and they'll work on that game. Then it's gonna take them six maybe 7 months. Like if they could get it in May, I would be shocked. I would send you like 2 burgers. Like I would order some food for you and send it to your house.
All right, we're gonna move on. I hope Doom just runs well on Switch, and I hope that I hope it's a good product when it finally comes out. So, but our last story comes from Game Informer. A lot of people, to preface this story, a lot of people thought from a translation of an interview from Game Informer that there were going to be 18 different gyms across a major and minor league, depending on what version of the game you got. But that doesn't seem to be so. So this is from Game Informer. The Pokemon Company clarifies there are not 18 gyms in Sword and Shield. In our cover story of Pokemon Sword and Shield this month, we had a sidebar talking about the differences between Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. In the sidebar, it seemed to imply the quote, by director Shigeru Omori that Pokemon Sword and Shield have 18 gyms. However, according to a representative of the Pokemon Company International, the true meaning of the original quote may have been lost in translation between Japanese and English. The original quote from Omori can be seen below in its entirety. I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to read the new quote. Many people online read the excerpt of the quote used in the cover story to mean that each game has 18 gyms, could battle in each version spread across the major and minor leagues. The Pokemon Company International reached out regarding this quote to clarify how many gyms there are in each game. You can see the statement provided by the representative below, so I'm going to read that statement. In the Galar region, Pokemon gym battles are popular sporting events, and the 18 different types of gyms that exist in the Galar contribute to the background setting of the story in Pokemon Sword and Shield. In each game, trainers can collect 8 gym badges to complete the gym challenge and earn the opportunity to participate in the Champion Cup. Over the course of the main story, trainers will challenge 8 gyms, which are all in the Major League. Which gyms appear in the Major League and Minor League will differ between the Pokemon Sword and Shield. For example, depending on the version of the game, trainers will be able to challenge different gym leaders such as Bea or Alistair. Each version will have 8 gyms and 8 gym leaders that trainers can battle for, a traditional gym challenge experience that fans have enjoyed throughout the Pokemon video game series. So it still doesn't clarify, because there are 8 major league gyms, but that doesn't mean don't really specify how many minor league gyms there are. It just means that there are the 8 major league gyms differ in each game. So that's interesting. I was really hoping that they were going to kind of change it up a little bit, because I think having different gyms would actually encourage people to buy both versions, because you're getting different stories, you're getting different leaders, you're getting different rewards, right? Like I think that would actually encourage people to buy both versions, even though most people will probably buy both versions at some point. But you know what I mean? Like I think this is interesting that there are 2 different leagues at least, but what are your thoughts on this?
Excuse me about that, everybody.
Oh boy, editing.
I really don't have any thoughts besides just give me the game. I can understand where the loss of translation thing could happen. I think most of the gyms probably would have different Pokemon gym leaders. I'm assuming, but it looks like there's just going to be, if you get that one in Sword, you're going to get that same one in Shield for it. I would love them to have like 18 different gyms. Like you get a mini dungeon, kind of mini gym, and then you get the major gym and stuff. Like I would love to see that happen. But other than that, I can understand. Just give me the game, because I'm getting both, so it really don't matter at this time. So yeah.
Oh man, what a time to be alive! Pokemon's coming to consoles.
Yes.
But
can't believe I was so wrong about that.
Yeah, you were pretty wrong about that. So. All right, we're going to get to the question block. Remember, you can email us at nintendopalblock@gmail.com, or look for our social media threads and comment or reply with a question. Or you can join us in the Mixer chat, and you can ask us a question there as well. Our first question comes from Adrian Nieto. Remember, you can download Reading Rush on iOS and Android from his game company, The Frozen Machine. So shout out to Reading Rush. It's a fun little game. I downloaded it last week, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I like it better than Mario Kart Tour, which I also played and then deleted because it's real bad. Nintendo's mobile offerings are subpar.
Questionable content.
Yeah. So, but Adrian asks, will Nintendo have another Game of the Year contender?
Yes, they actually kind of have like at this time about 3 of them.
I think Nintendo has quite a few Game of the Year contenders this year for certain people. I mean, Game of the Year is so opinionated anyway. Like I think people are already wanting to put Game of the Year on Death Stranding, and that game isn't even out yet, right? Like I think there's a lot of games that Gears 5 I think is a big Game of the Year contender, right? Control people are really talking about a lot. So but like for me, Nintendo has Game of the Year contenders this year, right? Mario Maker 2 I think is a decent one. I think Fire Emblem for me personally is a huge Game of the Year contender.
It's already Fire Emblem, Link's Awakening, and Astral Chain. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's those 3. There is no other game coming out in 2019 that is going to even touch those 3. People still don't know what they know about their Stranding. Anthem didn't do what it was supposed to do. The Division 2 was okay for some people. Borderlands 3 had its controversy, and then people forgot about it because nobody was talking about it.
I think a lot of the big games people were looking forward to for Game of the Year actually kind of disappointed. Like you said, Borderlands 3, I think a lot of people were like, that might be a Game of the Year contender, and then it was just like, meh.
Okay. Yeah, Dragon Quest 11 S Definitive Edition. Like, there are games on Switch, but just from first party alone for Nintendo, those 3. Mario Maker, I could add on, because people were doing levels, and people are still doing levels and showcasing all. But yeah, it's just like those 4 games are like so highly rated. They sold very well. People are still talking about them. People are still showing videos about them, buying Switches to play those games, and everything else is here. Great for great for Gears 5, but Gears 5 was a Game Pass game that did very well digitally because of Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Who else is talking about Gears 5? People finished it, beat it, and put it into the shelf or playing the multiplayer. And that's cool. That's really good. We don't know how Call of Duty is going to be. We don't know how NBA 2K is, but we do know what NBA 2K is. a travesty in microtransactions. That's what that is. But it's just like we still have Pokemon. We still have Luigi's Mansion. Those 2 games alone, on top of the 4 games that we mentioned, those 6 games from Nintendo could already fit Game of the Year contenders.
Plus, you have games that like came out so early in the year, like Resident Evil 2. I think has a big chance of winning something because like a lot of people don't like to include remakes in Game of the Year discussion, but I think the way that Capcom specifically has approached remakes has really changed the way people think about. They've set a new standard for remakes, right? Like I think Resident Evil 2, I refuse to play it because I don't play scary games, but I think I really think that they set a new standard in what that people think of remakes, right? And like Link's Awakening, I think is a very traditional remake, I would say. Like I think there's some quality of life changes, but I would kind of compare Link's Awakening more to like Shadow of the Colossus remake as opposed to Resident Evil 2 in terms of what they're trying to do with that. But anyways, I think some people still think Kingdom Hearts has a chance, right? Like I mean it's still the second best selling game of the year. Like people forget about that, and man, Game of the Year is so I can't believe we're talking about it. My head hurts just thinking about it.
The only thing at this point in time that could rival anything Nintendo, and everybody's going to probably laugh at this and disagree, is Untitled Goose Game because of how much.
But it still has a chance, right?
It still has a chance.
That game has become a meme generator. Like it's become the talk of the internet. Even my wife, who doesn't play games at all, right? She's like, what are all these goose memes going around the internet? I'm like, oh, there's a game for Switch called Untitled Goose Game where you play as a goose, and it's pretty hilarious. And she's like, that you play as a goose? I'm like, yeah, but it's a lot better than it sounds. And I had to try to explain to her what Untitled Goose Game was, and she probably just ignored me after like 30 seconds. But you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I think Untitled Goose Game has people talking that don't play games. So,
Right. Neil Druckmann even was just like some Pendamus. He did some fan art, and he was just like, "We need to have this happen for The Last of Us 2." Like, you talking about memes, but it's been in so much other stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, like I think that the only meme that could probably compare to Untitled Goose Game, and not to be political, but when Trump said about and they was talking about the airports with George Washington and stuff when the Revolutionary War or something, and they were just like when they said they had to bullstorm the airports, and everybody was just making memes out of his comment. Like, that's the only thing that could rival at this time until the Untitled Goose Game. But but like nothing else. Like, Sony doesn't have anything for this year, probably besides Death Stranding.
I mean, they had what did they have at the beginning of the year?
Days Gone.
Days Gone. Yeah, no, pass. I mean, I think that game. I think a lot of people have a weird appreciation for that game, similar to when the Order came out, right? Like, I think they realize that it is a very okay game, but it has heart behind it. You know?
Yes.
So I think that'll get points, but like, Jesse in the chat said Control did better than expected. I don't think it did well at all. It didn't even chart in the top 20 for August or September in terms of NPD. I think Control did not do well, and I feel bad because I think Control is one of those games. It's kind of like Quantum Break. Like, it's a game that deserves to be played because there are so many interesting ideas and cool mechanics and everything. Like, Control is a game that I want to play soon, and I think that's going to get some sort of Game of the Year recognition somewhere.
And I think the thing with Control is that by hearing a lot of people say it's like it has its technical difficulties, or pretty much old school design. Where like if you got through a big fight and you leave, if you come back to that same area, you got to do that fight over again.
Yeah.
Like, or if you die, let's say you get it close to the end. If you die, you got to redo that whole fight from the beginning, and you can't skip the cutscenes.
Yeah. But in terms of what Nintendo has to offer this year, I really think I think Fire Emblem has a decent shot. I think it got a lot of people into Fire Emblem that weren't into Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
I think Mario Maker 2 has a lot of will behind it. I think Astral Chain got a lot of love that people weren't expecting. Like, I think Nintendo has some decent contenders. But also, like, this is kind of like a downer year everywhere else. But like, I don't know if you mean, like, do they have a Breath of the Wild Mario Odyssey style game that will be Game of the Year contenders sometime down the road? Like,
if you want to say the Mario Odyssey Breath of the Wild, it's definitely between Astral Chain and Fire Emblem, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, because they both did well. I think Astral Chain did way better than people expected it to.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. I think a new IP for Nintendo is always exciting. And Platinum finally getting some sort of recognition outside of Bayonetta, like, that's pretty big, right?
Yeah. So,
I mean, these games will get Game of the Year somewhere regardless, right? And it's not just like...
Hey, sure, the September's Nintendo Direct or E3's Nintendo Direct could be Game of the Year.
I mean,
it just snaps.
It's fair. So... we'll see. I think Nintendo will have a Game of the Year contender at some point, and we still have Pokemon and Luigi's Mansion. Those games could surprise you and be some sort of magical special game.
Now, so I will say for the Game Awards, that show that they show online, I think Nintendo is going to get snubbed a lot, and they're going
Oh,
to give it to. They're probably going to give it to all these other third-party publishers
plus
who
Jeff Keighley
don't deserve it.
Jeff Keighley really loves Kojima too, and like
Hmm.
I feel like I don't say that's gonna hurt other games, but I think that's gonna go into a lot of the process. Even though like I know Jeff Keighley doesn't hand them out himself, but
Yeah.
you know we'll see. We're gonna have a big game of the year discussion this year. I'm pretty excited to talk about games. So, and I have a list of games that I need to finish and talk about. And we haven't had this discussion here, but like maybe we'll include other games in our game of the year list here because I think there are games that non-Nintendo owners should possibly play. Like
Oh,
so. But anyways,
and Adrian Nieto, pick up Yoshi's Crafted World and finish it if you haven't.
oh man, our next question comes from Todd Oxtra. If you're into superhero TV shows and stuff, you
Yes.
should download Secret Friends Unite. And I know he does. Hold on. Achoo! Wow, I know he does a gaming podcast with Mark Carabin. So you should check out Co-op Mode. Also, I'm pretty sure they're both on the same feed. They come up in the same feed on iTunes at least. So
Okay.
I know Co-op Mode and Secret Friends come up in the same feed on my podcast feed, but some places they're different feeds. So, yeah, you should check.
Great shows.
You should. Yeah, I love Todd and Charlie and Mark. They're great shows. So definitely check those out. He asks, "Is it time for another new IP from after ARMS and 1-2 Switch underwhelmed?"
I don't think. Okay, so
I don't think 1-2 Switch did what Nintendo wanted it to do, but I think ARMS did better than expected.
you will actually be surprised. Once the Switch sold very well.
I mean, I know it
along
sold
with
well,
ARMS.
but I don't think it. I don't. It wasn't the Wii Sports that I think they wanted it to be, right?
I think Nintendo wasn't hoping for that. I think they just wanted that game to sell people on what the Switch was. So yeah, it didn't do Wii Sports numbers or anything. But I'm just like there is an ARMS community that people don't really pay attention about. So that's why I feel like ARMS didn't sell. Like it's not underwhelming because they did I think 2 million. Like they sold well, and 1-2 Switch also sold well. Also, is it time for another one new IP? Well, we already got that one, and that was Astral Chain because Astral Chain doesn't belong to Platinum. Astral Chain belongs to Nintendo.
Yeah.
So we already have one of a new IP.
Plus, like Snipper Clips is a new IP for Nintendo that sold well. I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Nintendo is going to bring a new IP to Switch. They tend to do pretty well when they bring new IP. Like Pikmin is still around. Splatoon is killing it. I really think that Nintendo could bring a new IP, and I mean, Nintendo fans are going to go crazy for it. Plus, they need to make Amiibo. They need to make new Smash characters. So that's
now
just throwing that out there.
Now, if it depends on if we're ignoring Platinum, Bandai Namco, Tecmo Koei, Grezzo, if we're denying all of those developers for a new IP to come in from within Nintendo, I don't think it's time yet until we get Bayonetta, we get Metroid Prime, and we get Breath 2 out the way. Like we need those 3 out the way first before it's time for a new IP.
Yeah,
because
I still think we're going to get a Mario Odyssey sequel within the next year and a half also.
Yeah.
Like I really do think that. I think they're going to pull a Galaxy and use the assets to not rush out a second game but make another game to get out there, I think it's going to be Mario Odyssey 2.
I think within 2 years from now, a new IP should be here from Nintendo themselves. Like we need that new IP from Nintendo, because at this point in time, I think their resources are kind of stretched they could get their party now just like in research and development on a new idea. So
It's
gameplay
crazy though, because
mechanics,
like
art styles, and
you look
stuff.
at Nintendo and they have so many IP that they
Hmm.
can pull from still. Like they, I mean, and not just new like different IP, but like spin-offs like Mario and Luigi, the RPG series, Paper Mario, the Mario sports games. I think going switching between 2D and 3D Zeldas is something that they're really pushing, right? Like they said they want to have a Zelda game out every 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And that means we got Link's Awakening, so that means 2021 is Breath of the Wild 2. Like I think I still think that Breath of the Wild 2 is farther off than we think. I think we're gonna get the Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD collection before then,
Yeah.
but they like F-Zero, Star Fox, Pikmin, right? Like Pikmin 4 has been in development for a long time. We know it's been in development.
We're getting Ring Fit for the Ring Con. That's what the people are calling it. And that's a new, even though that's new hardware or accessory, that's a new game coming from Nintendo.
Yeah, and like we have new IP too in Xenoblade. Like I know Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is technically not a new IP, but it doesn't follow the first game or X, right? It's just the series name, and like those characters are new, and those characters are different, and so.
And we got the cardboard series. I cannot think of the cardboard series. So.
Oh, Labo.
Labo. We got Labo. So I think but for like a game new IP, I think within 2 years, but it'll be time to see one.
Yeah. So, I do think we'll get one. I don't know what it's going to be, but it would be really interesting to see Nintendo kind of either work with another developer. The game that like really pops into my head, and I know it's not like a real IP or whatever, but like the Conduit for Wii.
Yeah.
I think that was like a really interesting idea, and like codename Steam, I wouldn't put it past them to make another one of those, So
I think that should come to Switch.
so we'll see, but new IP for Switch, I think we will see some. So our last question comes from Francisco Ortiz. He says, "What could Nintendo do for you to replace or buy a second Switch? What are your plans for upgrading in the future?"
Okay, so
I have a pretty simple answer for this, but
besides running fast, like more battery life or GPC, stuff like that. I think it would be the Joy-Cons themselves. Would be like if they got rid of the drifting and stuff. But that actually also depends if the new Joy-Cons they bring out is going to be the same as the new Joy-Cons for a new Switch. My plans for upgrading in the future is very slim. It really depends on how my Switch lasts, in a sense. Like if it just like stops working or something like doesn't load up, then I'll get a new one. But I think for me personally, until Nintendo does like an actual pro, like a revision, and I'll get easy carry stuff over, and also add Bluetooth functionality. It's time for Nintendo. I think that's one thing I will want was Bluetooth functionality. For the future, like I said, probably until they bring out their next generation of a console.
yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I would really like if I was to upgrade, it would have to be pretty significant in terms of performance, that kind of thing. And I also like I think the Joy-Cons are cool in concept, but like whatever the next Switch is, I really hope it takes the form factor of the Switch Lite, but just bigger and more powerful, and you can just slide it into the dock and take it out. Give me a proper D-pad. And like I think they could offer choice there where like, hey, if you have Joy-Cons, you can keep them and attach them to this version, or you could have this version that mimics the Switch Lite and the controllers are attached, because they did that with the 3DS, right, with the faceplates and stuff. Like, you could buy a version of the 3DS that didn't have faceplates, but you could buy this version and it did. So I think they could do that, although I know the Joy-Cons make them a ton of money just by new colors and stuff. But I think that's what it would take for me to upgrade, is just a significant performance, just performance. So I would need an upgrade in performance and maybe a cleaner dock, maybe a cleaner form factor in terms of, like, I would like, and this is more of a pro controller thing, I would like to have a headset jack in the controller. I would like to have the headset jack at the bottom, even though, I know it plugs in the bottom, whatever, but that's what I would need from a Switch upgrade if I was to upgrade, just performance to make some games run better, or take on the other consoles. So, but I'm fine with my launch Switch still.
Right. I think I would kind of love a headset jack on each of the Joy-Cons, or have that Bluetooth functionality where if everybody in the room want to hear something, they could connect the Bluetooth to one switch and be able to hear the music and voice acting in the game. Like, I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, I think Bluetooth especially for like headphones and stuff would be is definitely a must too, especially with more and more headsets going wireless and everything. So,
right.
But that's going to do it for Nintendo Power Block. A little bit shorter episode, but that just means we get to play A Link to the Past longer tonight. So maybe we'll see. I was not prepared to stay up. So, but anyways, that's fine. I'm excited to play some Link to the Past. I want to get through it. I want to talk about it some more and have some Mixer questions in the chat. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Remember, you can find Nintendo Power Block live on Mixer every week. Follow us on Twitter to check for live times, but you will be able to listen to the show on Saturdays at 7 a.m. on your podcast service of choice, or on YouTube or on Spotify. Remember to rate us, give us those 5 stars, send us questions at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. Check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud or other podcast apps. Also, check out the NX Show on NX Project on YouTube and codename NX.com.
Yeah, and you can find me at CorianHD713 on Twitter, and you can follow me here on Mixer.com/CorianHD. And Ed has something else to say.
If you guys are still interested in learning more about the NX Challenge, I will put a blog up, and you guys can check that out on codename NX, and I will put a short version on our Twitter page.
Yeah. So, anyways, you can, all the information below on Mixer, you can find us there as well. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Follow, rate, and review. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. We love you.
Bye, everybody. Woohoo!